free-for-all between traditional sports betting, prediction markets, and the states got even more complicated with a new ruling in the U.S. District Court of Nevada that seemed to contradict an earlier ruling in that same jurisdiction. So Kalshi took legal action in Nevada, New Jersey, and Maryland seeking preliminary injunctions to keep those state regulators from going after them, claiming that their license from the CFTC allowed them to do prediction markets, which would include sports betting. They won the preliminary injunction fight in Nevada, New Jersey, but lost in Maryland. And because Crypto.com offered similar products and was receiving similar threats from the Nevada authorities, they sought a preliminary injunction in court and lost. And to escalate the fight, on October 15th, the Nevada Gaming Control Board sent a warning to its licensees that if they sought to do business in other states that don't allow gambling, or if they partner with people using prediction markets to do business in states that don't allow gambling, that could endanger their own license. And this follows warnings by other states such as Arizona, Ohio, and Michigan that issued similar warnings. So if an organization like DraftKings can only legally do sports betting on a state-by-state basis by getting authority from each state's gaming commission, and you can shortcut that by getting a license from the CFTC and be able to operate in all 50 states, you might be wondering why these sports bookies don't do that, and this is why. Because you could lose your license after several state gaming commissions have warned that if you try that, or even partner with a company doing that they would not look kindly on that when deciding whether to issue you a license or renew your license or to allow you to keep your license. So what happened in the ruling against Crypto.com? Well, believe it or not, the court said that the outcome of sports events aren't events, which sounds odd, but we'll go through it. So the judge in this case went through a hyper-technical reading of the statute that grants authority to the CFTC, and even though event and occurrence are not defined in that statute, he reviewed the meanings in other court cases and even several dictionaries to try to decide what that term meant. So he referenced 2A1A, which grants the CFTC jurisdiction, and he parsed that section. So that gives the CFTC jurisdiction over swaps or contracts of a commodity for future delivery, which are futures contracts. And importantly, they said that Crypto.com contends that they qualify as swaps, not as contracts for future delivery. And I believe that's important because I've said before, and I'll say again, that these contracts would be harder to challenge if you did them as futures. And if you're interested, I can go into why in a separate video, but we'll stick to this for now. So in the Commodity Exchange Act, Section 1A contains the definitions, and there you'll find exactly what a swap is according to the law. And that would be 1A47. And the relevant part that he focused in on is this part here. That is dependent on the occurrence, non-occurrence, or the extent of the occurrence of an event contingency associated with potential financial, economic, or commercial consequence. So there's two things you should focus on. One, that there's an or here, and two, that it refers to occurrences or non-occurrences, and it also refers to an event. And why he focused on that is there's a canon of statutory construction that there's no surplus verbiage in a statute, that if Congress uses different words in a statute, they mean different things. So the fact that Congress put an occurrence or the occurrence of an event means that they thought occurrence and event are different things, according to that canon and according to this judge. And so he went into the statute, other statutes, case law, and even several dictionaries that describe what an occurrence or an event is. And based on that, he determined that these prediction markets betting on sports games are not occurrences or events within the meaning of this statute, and so therefore did not grant Crypto.com their preliminary injunction, even though under an almost identical set of facts and circumstances, a court in Nevada did grant Kalshi a preliminary injunction in that case. So the cases still have to play out, but what that means is that Kalshi will continue to be able to legally operate in Nevada without fear of retribution from the regulatory authorities while the case plays out. There's no guarantee that the case itself will resolve in their favor if the Nevada authorities prosecute them, but that Crypto.com does not have that same protection while the case works its way through the courts if the Nevada authorities seek to go after them. And as I said before, Crypto.com classified these as swaps, not contracts for future delivery. And the judge in this case focused on the CFTC's jurisdiction over swaps, and that was the basis of his ruling. And I will note that there is prior case law dealing with futures that is more favorable. So the statute and the CFTC's jurisdiction over swaps changed post Dodd-Frank, but the CFTC's jurisdiction over contracts for future delivery, there's very favorable case law regarding the CFTC's jurisdiction and federal preemption. And I believe that there's a way to structure these contracts using futures instead of swaps that would make that harder to challenge in federal courts. And if you'd like to discuss that, you could reach out to me. I provide consulting and legal services with regard to derivatives and finance, and I enjoy working on complex legal questions like this. So my contact info is in the bio. And if you have any questions about this ruling or this statute or any of these provisions, just leave a comment below. And since I'm a lawyer, I'll give you the disclaimer. Although I'm a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer, and this is not legal advice, and nothing that I say here is intended or will create an attorney-client relationship between you and I. Nothing here is intended to be relied on. Seek your own legal counsel. Got it? Anyway, like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Have a great day, everyone.